In the final years of the Qin dynasty, the ruler's brutality left the people suffering unbearably. Yet no one dared to rise up in resistance. This was because the philosophy they had been taught since childhood that had never included the option of rebellion. It taught them only that they must never go against their superior's will. As everyone else drifted through life in a state of confusion, Chen Sheng suddenly felt the urge to rebel. What made Chen Sheng different from everyone else? Nothing. He was a genuine peasant. His family's descendants. He might not have experienced what others had, but he had also not attempted what others hadn't. Chen Sheng had no formal education, let alone a school. Yet he could utter such bold words as, "How can a sparrow understand the ambition of a swan?" While others toiled in the fields for the landlord. While others sought ways to improve efficiency, Chen Sheng harbored the ambition. If we become rich and powerful, we must not forget each other. Others laughed at his wishful thinking, but Chen Sheng saw them as lacking foresight. How could an uneducated, honest peasant possess such insight? How did Chen Sheng stand out among the peasants? If his remarks in the fields had reached the government, he would have been wanted. However, no one took Chen Sheng's words seriously, and officials even appointed him as a village chief. This demonstrates Chen Sheng's deceptive appearance, preventing others from discerning his true character and mistaking him for an honest farmer. When heavy rain delayed their journey, Chen Sheng immediately conceived out of the idea of rebellion. Before then, the people had no idea what rebellion was, let alone the idea of resistance. Even in their utter fear, no one dared to challenge the government. But Chen Sheng chose to join forces with another village chief, Wu Guang, to rebel. Before convincing Wu Guang, Chen Sheng labored over his persuasion that his words uncharacteristic of a peasant. Even the county magistrate might not have known these details. Chen Sheng's analysis of the current situation before Wu Guang was remarkably clear and precise, even mentioning the tampering of the imperial edict, the By Zhao Gao, and Hu Hai. It was for this reason that they later launched an uprising under the name of Prince Fusu. This rationale for the uprising was indeed impeccable. But the key question is how Chen Sheng gained access to these secrets. Tampering with the imperial edict should have been a top secret. How could a common peasant have so easily learned of it? His feat of raising an army in Days Township, that was a feat only a man of extraordinary talent could pull off. The reason he was able to accomplish this remains a mystery. During the reign of Emperor Wu of Han, Liu Ke, the Han dynasty launched a large-scale military campaign against the Xiongnu. The most prominent general in this protracted war was undoubtedly Hua Zubing, known as the Marquis of Champion. Before Hua Zubing was even born, his father disappeared, a man considered ruthless and ungrateful. Although Hua Zubing's father had abandoned the family, his mother did not vent her resentment on Hua Zubing. Later, Hua Zubing's aunt, Wei Zifu, caught the eye of Emperor Wu and was chosen to become a concubine in the palace, ushering in a new era for Hua Zubing and his mother. Despite improved living conditions, the absence of his father's love lingered in Hua Zubing's heart, leaving him with a deep wound. However, this did not hinder his growth, and he eventually became a distinguished general. Emperor Wu of Han's cultivation played a crucial role in Hua Zubing's emergence, despite the absence of his father's love. Emperor Wu of Han treated Hua Zubing with unwavering care, and Hua Zubing lived up to his expectations, achieving unparalleled success. In the campaign against the Xiongnu, Hua Zubing's foremost tactic was leading elite troops directly behind enemy lines, conducting deep penetrations across the vast expanses of the western regions. This strategy, while simple in theory, was exceedingly difficult to execute, as navigating the vast deserts of the western regions required a thorough understanding of the terrain and routes. In reality, advancing blindly in the desert was tantamount to self-destruction. Even local residents of the western regions could become lost in the desert, let alone seasoned veterans, who would have difficulty determining the enemy's position. However, Hua Zubing seemed to possess extraordinary navigational abilities. Within 6 days, he conquered 5 Xiongnu tribes in quick succession, striking the Xiongnu in terror. Believing Hua Zubing to be a divine being, the Xiongnu fled, fleeing thousands of miles away. But Hua Zubing, seemingly able to predict their movements, led an army of 7.000 deep into the enemy's territory, penetrating over 2.000 miles and striking directly at the Xiongnu's main force. The terrified Xiongnu dared not fight and continued their flight northward. Hua Zubing pursued them all the way to Wolf Mountain, where he carved a stone tablet to commemorate his achievements. With no navigational tools or accurate maps, Hua Zubing's ability to command battles so effectively is difficult to explain except through innate talent. In the late Western Han dynasty, Wang Mang usurped the throne and established the Xian dynasty. However, Wang Mang's incompetent governance spurred rebellions across the country, and the Xian dynasty quickly collapsed. The Battle of Kunyang proved decisive in the struggle to overthrow Wang Mang, as his 400.000 elite troops were annihilated. This 400.000 man army faced a mere 10.000 strong band of Green Forest troops. It was supposed to be a foregone conclusion, but a series of unusual phenomena changed the outcome. The Green Forest troops were led by the future Emperor Guangwu, Lu Xiu. He had no assurance of victory, but the arrow had already been released, and even retreat was too late. Just as Lu Xiu prepared to lead his troops in a desperate battle, something strange occurred within the enemy camp. As if divine intervention aided Lu Xiu, a meteorite suddenly crashed into the enemy camp. Ancient warriors were deeply superstitious during warfare. and even the smallest details that could be magnified. A celestial phenomenon, like a falling meteorite, that instantly shattered the morale of the 400,000 man army. Furthermore, the meteorite was followed by an even more violent storm. Howling winds blew roof tiles everywhere, followed by torrential rain, swelling rivers, and flooding that swept away most of the soldiers. By the time the disaster subsided, Wang Mang's 400,000 man army had been destroyed by more than half, and the remaining troops were demoralized and had lost their fighting capacity. Lu Xiu then led his army into the battle, and Wang Mang's soldiers, like lambs to the slaughter, fell to the ground, desperately hoping for their lives. Lu Xiu's victory at the Battle of Kunyang was truly divinely ordained. Zhen Shang, Huang Xiubing, and Lu Xiu all demonstrated extraordinary abilities.